Hello, everyone, and welcome to the stream. This is Otaku Showboat. Today is Friday, July 19th, 2019. It is the 19th already. The 19th. I've got a kitty next to me. He's doing a little bit better today, I think. Yesterday he was in quite a lot of pain and struggles in the morning, but he seems to be a bit better today, a bit more interested in food, and is now relaxing right next to me. It also helps that the air conditioner is now working wonderfully for the moment. Anyway, yeah, that was a mission yesterday, shall we say? A mission. A wonderful, wonderful, wonderful mission. But everything is good now. The house has cooled down. It was almost 100 degrees Fahrenheit yesterday outside, and when it's over 87 in the house, that's a problem. That's a problem. It is now 75 Fahrenheit. A lot better of a temperature. And it took all night for the air conditioner, even when operating properly, to get the house down to what we set the thermostat to. So, today, there have been a couple of updates to a couple of the Pyanodon's mods in regards to being able to get acid gas through a new recipe earlier, but I'm not going to be doing that particular recipe. We are all synced up for going into our save today. So first things first, because there was an update, as soon as we load in, reset on the thingies, all of the text and all of the recipes so that we are not borked. Just so that we are not borked. It will be a wonderful time today. So what did we do last time? Last time was all about getting stainless steel. Well, for most of the stream. Most of the stream, it was about getting to stainless steel. We now have the non-zero amounts of stainless steel able to be produced. And I had a bit of trouble with math when setting up our next project, which is the more efficient Chromium. The more efficient Chromium, which gives some stone and gravel as outputs that I need to also deal with. So, as it turns out, what I was doing wrong with the geometric series here, when, in order to take into account that it's 2 grade 1 chromite, you don't divide the initial input by 2, you divide the ratio by 2. So, the ratio here, so to solve the geometric series, the sum total follows the formula the sum S minus the ratio times S equals to the initial input. That's pretty much basically the formula, which means that ratio, knowing what that ratio is very important. That ratio is 40% or 0.4 times 50% or 0.5, which is 0.2. Then you have to divide that by 2 for the number of grade 1 chromite going into the 40% of grade 2. So you divide that by 2, and that gives you 0.1. Now, 0.1, if you do the math and solve for S, so remember it's S minus 0.1 S equals 3 as the formula, because we have 3 coming in from the initial input. What that means is that you have a 1 minus 0.1, which is 0.9. So your S is going to be equal to 3 divided by 0.9, which is 3 1/3, I think. Yes, 3 1/3. So that is the actual output. And hello, infantryman. Welcome to the stream today. I am just reviewing what my bad math was in this geometric series at the start of the Chromium production. So, as it turns out, it's 3.33 grade 1 total that gets fed into this next geometric series, going from grade 1 into, or the grade 3 out into the grade 1. So it's 3.33 in, making half of that as grade 3. So 3 1/3 divided by 2 is 1 2/3. So 1 2/3 per second going into grade 3 will give you that much grade 3 as well as that much in rejects. There's a 60% chance of 3 rejects becoming another grade 3. So that geometric series will end up being a little... It ends up being... the ratio is 0.6 divided by 3, following that same logic from before. And that math, if I bring up my notes, that math, if I even wrote it down, I don't think I even wrote it down, but suffice it to say that 1.67 is what we end up ultimately equaling. So 0.6 over 3 is 0.2. So 1 minus 0.2 is 0.8. 1.6 repeating over 0.8 is equal to 2.083 repeating. That's how much of our grade 4 will exist, because that's how much grade 3 exists, and that's what it's a 1-to-1. Grade 3 to 4. Grade 4 into chromite sand, we have to be able to process 2.083 repeating. That'll be 13 solid separators in total. And from there, this is a ratio of 8-to-1. So we multiply our 2.0833 by 8 to get 16 2/3. So already I see there is a slight issue here. Ever so slight. And being able to process 16 2/3 in will require 12 casting units, and ultimately, actually, ends up meaning that if we divide that by 3, you get 5.5 repeating, 5.555 repeating units of chromium per ore. Ta-da! So it's not actually a ratio of third, 3 to 1, or whatever I was suspecting last time. It is not that in the slightest. The ratio is actually 2.7 ore per plate, or 0.37 plates per ore. That is the proper ratio. And I actually only need 2 screeners, 7 hydrocyclones, two screeners, 7 hydrocyclones. It's the 2 ball mills, 13 of these solid separators. I currently have 15, so cut 2 off the end here. And then 12 casting units. So that's what I need. Now, at what point do we exceed 15 per second? Off the last 2. How am I going to route this properly? That could do up to 18. I would need to have a way of feeding these 2 into 3. Or, no, these 2 can feed into 2. So what I will do is that. And I believe that that should work just fine. And what I'll do is I'll have that there. Yes, it's very complicated on the math. Fortunately, we don't have to do another geometric series when I go through the next thing, which will be titanium. So I went through off-screen and I calculated what I would need to do the more efficient titanium as well. And I did happen to have a look also at a different process for making refined syngas. It is the process that Pyanodon actually mentioned on stream, and that is the process involving coalbed gas. And as it turns out, that process with the coalbed gas... I guess I'm going on a bit of a run. That process on the coalbed gas is a lot more efficient in terms of the amount of activated carbon used. So I want to swap over my production of refined syngas into the one that's based off of coalbed gas. And that also saves a lot of syngas because that eliminates the input of syngas from the equation entirely. I went way past where I wanted to go. I wanted to go to my inserters because I need more inserters. I'll go ahead and pick up another stack of the long-handeds as well. How many burners do I have on me? 11. Let's make more. Always more. Always, always more. Now, with the titanium chain, when I get into doing that, also the extra syngas will be very important because we're going to be using a lot when doing the new chromium. The titanium, we cannot do the process involving molten at this point in time, because in order to do the molten, you need the building called the jig. And the jig... Close out of that. While Pyanodon did make the jig available to be made at Green Science Tech, the circuit board 2 requirement basically means, and the stainless steel and assembling machine 2 and electric engine units, all of that sort of points towards Blue Science Tech. So, even though it has been moved away from Blue Science, you basically already have Blue Science by the time that you can make the jig in the first place. So, ultimately, if the intention is to really be able to do the molten titanium before Blue Science, to have a path to molten titanium before Blue Science, the requirements to make the jig have to be brought down a tier. The ingredients have to be brought down a tier to circuit board 1s, assembling machine 1s, and engine units. Although the electric engine units... Can you make those now? You can make those now. What do they require? Advanced small parts, which you can make. Yeah, keep the, I'd say keep the electric engine units to force people to get into stainless steel first to make the jig. But remove the circuit board 2, replace that with 1, and replace the, I guess you can keep the assembly machine 2 as well, because I can make that with advanced small parts now as well. So it forces people to make the nylon and make the stainless steel to get into the jig, so you can keep the jig as a machine that requires more stuff a bit later in the cycle of Green Science, but allows you to get it before Circuit 2s, because there's this big gap in time while setting up Circuit 2s, where, at least how I'm playing, and I'm making stainless steel, because this does require stainless steel, and if you have stainless steel, you can make the assembling machine 2s and the electric engine units, but you can't... But by the time you get circuit board 2s, you have Blue Science at that point. The moment you get circuit 2s, circuit board 2s, you have Blue Science. That's part of the nature... That is the nature of the beast, as it were, because the Blue Science in coal processing... I can find Blue Science, wherever the heck it is, right there. Chemical Science packs is iron plates, optical fibers, rubber, and tin cable, and circuit board 2s. In order to make circuit board 2s, you need to make optical fiber. So you already have the iron, you have the rubber from making Green Science, you need the rubber in the green science chain, I do believe. And tinned cable is easy. You already have the stuff to make the tinned cable. So, as I said, if you've made circuit board 2s, you can make blue science. So there's no point to the jig being green science if it's still locked behind circuit board 2s. That's my spiel, my point that I wanted to make on this day with the jig. I think that it should require circuit board 1, maybe more circuit board 1, but than what it requires in 2s. But I think that one change from circuit 2 to 1 on the jig will make it a lot more viable of an option at green science for the purpose of the titanium, the molten titanium chain. Alright, do I have all of this done properly, logistically? I think I do. The next step is the burners. I'm gonna go ahead and do them. I've got this nice, convenient coal patch if I wanted to feed the burners, but I've also got that line of coke just sitting there, so I think I'm gonna use that nice and convenient coke line. We'll do 6 this time. This, of course, will be how I take care of my gravel and stone. And that, as they say, is that. Now I just need the input of ore. And power. Power is important. Power is very important. Once I do this, I just have to hook up 60 whole mining drills all together to start mining more of the chromium. Right, I need to sort of feed these. And then they need an output, and they need a, I'm gonna do it on this side. I need to hook up pipe for the wonderful, beautiful CO2 that needs to be input into this system as well, because can't forget about the 180 per second on the CO2 required. And then as for the outputs, I'm gonna need to be doing some shenaniganry here with the... well, I can either do undergrounds, or I can reroute a bit higher. And I think I will do that. I will reroute the stuffs. As we'll go all the way back on this. Yes, this means I will end up picking up a lot of these drill heads. Hopefully I don't run out of inventory. Oh yeah, I'm not running out of any inventory anytime soon. Unfortunately, I can't just clean this belt and use this belt, because I do want an even output. Well, as even as I can get for a 5.55 per second total. And consider as well that this is 5 units of output. This nice pattern, this pattern works when you have even numbers on the outputs of the machines. Doesn't quite fully work out when it's an odd number. In order to take care of that, you sort of need to have machines on both sides of the output belt. That is generally the way to do things, but I don't like doing that. I don't like doing that. Clearly, I don't like doing that. I mean, if you haven't noticed by now, I tend to do single lines of machines and not double lines of machines, even though that makes it a lot easier to do even belts on the outputs. Because I have 12 here, it would be relatively easy to do 6 and 6 on the machines, and then regardless of there being 5 on the output, it wouldn't matter. There's my chromium. Huzzah. Now to do power. There we go. It's power! Alright. Connect that way. Maybe have a little bit of redundancy. There's all of that powered up and ready to go. Just add CO2 and chromium ore. CO2. Glorious, beautiful CO2. I have you on the bus right there. Glorious and beautiful. Right. Yeah. Oh, that's so unfortunate. Just one more tile, please. Alright, carbon dioxide. Feed all of that. I'm unsure, actually, if I have enough carbon dioxide. At least I know I have the power. I have the power! All of the power. It is mine. Okay, break all of this down. Remember that I am reorienting my mining drills on this patch. To be horizontal instead of vertical. Okay. 60. 60 is the magic number that we are looking for. Now this is where it's going to get a little bit tricksy. Because that... There we go. That fixes things quite nicely. So, welcome 60 mining drills. I will need power. And I will need undergrounds. Unfortunately, I'll need an underground here as well. I could have offset this differently and not required it, but eh. Just eh. Don't care. Then I have to... I hate doing... 3-to-1 balancer. Ideally one that works. Or... Screw it, I'm going to do this as the infinite throughput. Well, not infinite throughput, but the wonderful balancer that is the 4-4. And it is going to be my 3-3. Or my 3-1. This is going to be my 3-1. Because I know that this one works. Regardless of how many inputs it has to outputs. So I know that I am going to have a balanced single lane of output despite having a prime number brought in. Stylistic choice there doesn't really matter. And then just need to both turn on the lights and add glorious syngas to the equation. Now, I'm not moving any syngas out here, so I can take all of this away. Whoops, that was not a thing that I wanted to do. Oops. So this entire setup now can be completely broken down. So why is it 60 to get a full yellow belt? How do I know that 60 is a full yellow belt? I've said this multiple times already, but to reiterate, 200% mining time means that it takes twice as many mining drills to hit 30 per second, or to hit 15 per second on the output. So when under normal circumstances it's 30 electric mining drills, these will operate not at 0.5 per second, but at 0.25 per second, so you need 60 of them. You are still only going to need the 60 per second on the syngas, though, so just bear in mind, it is still going to be 60 syngas to get 15 chromium, but it will be 60 mining drills rather than 30. That's the only difference it makes, and that you can see I've got a nice, beautiful, fully compressed yellow belt going down to be fed in to the jaw crushers here. These 3 jaw crushers will be just enough to consume all of this beautiful yellow belt. They will make grade 1s and stone. The stone will be destroyed. They'll go and make G3s and G2s. The G2s will be converted into G1s. This will feed back in G1s, the G2s, or the 3s will come up. All of the 3s will come up, get fed into... Oh, I don't have water. That is a problem. So this is why we always need to check these things. This is why I always go and watch it after I think I'm done, because as it turns out, you're never actually done. Fortunately enough, I've got a nice water right here, source of water. This is a closed loop for water, so I shouldn't tap into that. That provides the water for that singular hydrocyclone. I need to actually modify things a little bit. because I completely forgot to hook up my water. Slash was very, very blind. There we go. So now these hydrocyclones are going to give me grade 1, or grade 4 end rejects from 3s. So the rejects will go into these ball mills, where they will be converted back into grade 3s, so another geometric series to get extra grade 3 in. From here, the grade 4 goes up into the solid separators to make sand. This is the step that will change once I'm able to actually get into more efficient processes. We will be further processing the grade 4s later. And then this gets fed in. Oh right, I also need the limestone and sand castings. Oops, don't mind me as I go and grab some of that stuff. I forgot again about the rest of the inputs. The limestone's going to be the main issue here. I've got sand castings close by, it's just that limestone. Now there's limestone from soil extractors. Ah, that is so unfortunate that you're behind that. Blue tech. I want this ground borer limestone. That is such a good recipe. Well, anyway, looks like I've got to make some soil extractors now. How much per second? 3.6. Okay. While that's crafting, I will see about bringing over my sand castings. Now, this is going to be interesting because you see I already have a mixed belt here. This is, shall we say, the easy way to pull out only one line. However, what I could also do is just filter for sand castings to the right. And that means that no matter what, I will only ever get the sand castings out here. So 2 ways to do the exact same thing. I'm just gonna bring this all the way over. Now this is on the bottom, yes? Yes, this is on the bottom. So first question is, how many soil extractors am I going to need? Oh my. 3.6, huh? 9. I have 3. Small parts and tinned cable. Alright. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright. Those will be quick to craft, I would hope. So I need a line of 9 of these up here somewhere. And 9 are going to need a fair bit of water. Cannot wait to replace these with ground borers. That's only 180 per second on water. That is better than some other processes. Should have some niobium right here. Oh hey, look, niobium. Give me more undergrounds. Thanks. It's like, oh yeah, I need some more niobium. Hey, it's right there. How convenient. Water! Again. More water. Boinky, boinky, and boinky. Give me those. There's the water, then just add power. And add outputs. Now these move. I only need 3.6 and I only need it on one side of the belt, so I will do that way. This will give just enough stuffs. To feed what I need, and then... Really, you're making me do one more pole? Aw, I need another pole. Of course I need another pole. Okay, here, have a small that I happen to have on me. That is 12, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Good. Welcome, more efficient chromium. Lots more efficient chromium. Technically speaking, I need to run this line up to where I have the original line, which is right here. And there we go. That, as they say, is that. Now I can break all of this down. All a frickin' Luya. And then we can move on to the titanium chain. Oh boy. That, as they say, is that. So, assuming that everything is fed fully, this should be 5.55 per second. Now that is about a third of the throughput of the yellow belt. So, it looks like we have a problem. Where is the issue? Where is my ore? What happened to the ore? Did I lose power? No, I lost syngas. I guess I cut my syngas. Yeah, I cut my syngas in. Alright. There we go. I had cut the syngas in when I was cleaning up around there. Yeah, and it's just digging through remaining stuff out here. Feeding these. Although I do wonder if I am even close to making the full 5.55. Now I have to wait for all this to get trickle back down and the whole system to start running again, but anyway, I can now operate on the assumption that I have that much chromium coming in, at minimum. This will feed this again fully, and it'll start, ideally, being more than what I need to do everything that I am currently doing. So, next. Really now. I just noticed that. Here, let's fix that. While I'm here and while I see it. Something's eating... Ah, it's eating bone meal. That's why. Alright, so I'm going to head towards the start of the bus so I can go and pick up a car that's out that way, as well as to pick up more belts, more, yeah, just more things, more electric poles, and all of that. Oh, you're getting up? Bye. Bye, kitty. Can definitely tell the difference when I don't have that aluminum plates down. I'll take both. Sure. And I will take plenty of these. In fact, I will even do that. And you will go in there. Okay. Titanium is next. Beautiful and glorious titanium is next. This is fortunately going to be a relatively simple process. If I look at my titanium ore here, I can see this is another 200% mining time process. So this will be another set of 60 mining drills, so I have to pick up some more of those along the way. Where am I going to do the titanium mining? That is the question. I have this 10 mil patch that's sitting right here. I don't know if I want to tap that one. If I have a look around, I can see I've got a 7.1, an 8.8, a 1.6, which is awful. Just having a good look around. There's this 1.2 that I've been sort of covering over. And then, of course, there's this 10 way out there, but that's less dense than this 10. And there's this really dense 13 and 20 way out here in the middle of horrible terrain. And a 17 right there. This process is not all that complex. I will need hot air to finish it. There's also a 6.1 right there. It's unfortunate that there isn't one on this side that's worth tapping. Yeah, that's a little unfortunate. So I'll have to run the hot air out no matter what. I suppose I will tap this 10 mil right here. Right here, right near my copper tapping. Oh, isn't that convenient how I have a copper rock right near where I am mining and processing copper. That's convenient, and I have another patch of copper right next door that is more dense. More resource dense. Right. Oh, and this is so big because I'm processing 2 yellow belts worth. That's right. That's right, I'm doing 2 yellow belts worth. That explains a lot. That explains Allet. Don't need this many jaw crushers anymore out here after the copper chain was changed. I guess since I will be out that direction, I can take care of that while I'm out there. may want to bring with me some landfill. This is my car with landfill, aka why I came out in this direction in the first place. So, besides the mining drills... Oh wow, I'm actually voiding excess CO2. Interesting. So what do I need for this next, more efficient titanium process? I will need 5 jaw crushers, which I can probably pilfer while I'm up there from the glorious other copper process, but they are always... I always lose track. Where are my jaw crushers? Right there. I need to grab some engine units, which is right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Circuits. Duralumin. Glorious duralumin. Why am I not actually buffering duralumin? That sounds like a wonderful idea. Why am I not doing that again? Please buffer duralumin so I don't have to go running over the belts for it. And 5. I will also need... Let me see here. 5, 6, 7. 7 automated screeners. Those exist right here, so I need 7 of these. I have 1 on me. 4. 5, 6, 7. Oh, I need to grab some of those, it looks like. I need 2 secondary crushers. Those are right there. Grab more circuits. I need 2 ball mills. And I need 1 advanced foundry. I've got 10 sitting on me. So that's taken care of fully. And that's it. That's all. Of course, I will also need a bunch of pipe. A bunch of pipe to do hot air out to the foundry. The advanced foundry, making the actual titanium plates. Just 1 advanced foundry is necessary for this, because, as it turns out, A, this process doesn't actually have any geometric series. Thank God, right? That makes things a lot less complex. So there's no geometric series with this initial titanium processing. There's some additive stuff going on, but there's no loops going on for geometric series, so that is highly convenient. And that means that this math works out in such a way that a yellow belt in is equal to 3.825 plates out per second. So 15 per second. Fruit fly landed on my glasses just there. So 15 ore per second in will be the 3.825 plates per second out in this process, because we cannot do molten yet. Because we can't make the jig yet until I have circuit 2s, aka blue science. It's like, why even bother having the jig at green science if you can't even use it. Now, am I to believe that this is actually 5 per second after this? What's the hold up? Oh, right. I am a little bit of a dummy. This is being limited by the lane balance. How many is 7.5? After 5, so after 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ew. Alright. Didn't really want to do a proper lane balancer, but I will. I will do 2 of them, actually. Or I guess, you know what, no, I can do this. Screw everything in life. This is still gonna be a problem. Don't do that, do that. Yes, it is after 6, but what I can do is that to make it after 5, and that will at least allow the full throughput of everything. I can then do a more formal balancer here, and that will push out everything properly. That will do things more efficiently. I hope. I could always just do red belts. Just set up advanced small parts and do the red belts now that I have stainless steel. So that should give me the full outputs of all of this. Now we should be cooking with gas on this. I left my car right there. See, I knew it didn't quite look right. Okay, I'm gonna go over, grab some mining drills. Just a few. Twice what I need. I'm gonna go up and I'm gonna get some landfill in my car. I am making landfill where I am making molybdenum at the moment. One thing I may want to do, actually, is grab a warehouse. And start storing some things in warehouses. Things such as this stuff can probably be put into a warehouse. Into a glorious and beautiful warehouse. Is this the same car? No, it isn't. Good thing I paid attention. I was about to take off in the wrong car. So I'll be changing this setup right here in a little bit, ideally. A little bit later on. So right here, I've got this landfill. And I want to stick it into a warehouse if at all possible. Instead of into that chest. Because that gives me a lot better of a buffer without choking my molybdenum. My glorious, glorious electrolyzed molybdenum plates. Now, I should also have hot air right there making gasoline. So that also makes this a little bit easier for bringing the hot air over to do the titanium plate casting. So while I went over the numbers of machines and what machines that I need, I didn't quite explain what the actual process is that I will be doing on the titanium plate production. So the titanium plates, the ore enters into the system, making grade 1 and grade 2 versions of titanium through automated screeners. This time it's actually starting with screeners and not jaw crushers, so hey, you're back and you're gonna start cleaning yourself, pulling out tufts. Alright. So it starts with the screeners, 5 screeners to do a yellow belt. The grade 2 gets processed into additional grade 1 through jaw crushers, 5 of those. The grade 1s get converted into grade 3s and rejects in automated screeners again, so 2 more automated screeners. The rejects get turned into grade 3s through secondary crushers, 2 of those, thus 7 total in this system. And the grade 3s get converted into grade 4 in ball mills, 2 of them, and from there the grade 4s will be casted into plates via the singular advanced foundry with the addition of some hot air. Get that tuft out of your mouth. Thank you. So, fitting 60 onto here, I'm also going to need to bring in acetylene. That is the other factor here is acetylene. That is 46. If I can get 7. No, I can get 5. don't really want one here. Or I don't want that one. That should be 60. Hey you, what are you doing? Why are you walking in front of my screen? Get out. There's a kitty. There's the kitty. Yeah. That's him. Yes, you're wiggling. You want to get away. Yeah, go on. Get out. Get out. Whoops. Wrong button. Why you want to go in front of my screen, Mr. Cole? Get that tuft off the desk. Okay, power. It's not going to mine because I don't have any acetylene. No, don't go back in front. If I don't want this, I can do this. That's 38, that's 32. That's actually 43, but it's offset. I can technically do that. I don't like how that looks though. Yeah, I'll leave it like that. Excuse me. Yep, that is a thing. Whoops. There we go. Welcome to power. I think again I will choose to do the 4-4 balancer with 3 in and 1 out rather than attempting to do, or rather than using a 3-to-1 that I don't know if it actually properly works because prime numbers. Probably best to do the acetylene connections here. So this is going to be the acetylene line that will need to be brought in. Now, grabbing the car. The reason why I wanted some landfill is because we're going to be building in here, this zone. I'm unsure if any of these processes require a water input, but if they do, we've got water. I just have a bit too much for what I need at the moment. Oops, it missed a spot. Okay, I need 5 of my automated screeners, wherever they are. I apparently made 1 too many. You almost forgot about the copper boonies. All the way out my no man's land of copper that I never go to, except now when setting up this titanium ore patch, which reminds me I was also going to go over and redo this copper. Yes, this is my most distant major outpost all the way up here. It's right near where I've also got my coke being produced. Looks like I've actually got some work to do on the coal going into that. Anyway, I have too many jaw crushers on this line. So I am 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 10. Because I need 9. Alright. This is making 12. Yes, sadly. This is making 12 per second on the grade 2. Oh, these process grade 1 into 2. Right. This is producing 6. So in order to do 6 grade 1s, I only need 9. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So anything after this can be just removed. So many extra resources now. And that's a bunch of inserters as well, as belt. And that helps, because now I don't have that, that power draw that all machines have, even when they're not operating. I'll take the belt. I'm not worried. I don't need the small poles. But I want all my inserters back, thanks. Thank goodness for increased mining speed. Now, I'm assuming that my math is right and that I do only need 9 to process this if it's running at full efficiency. Do I have what I need to make another warehouse? Of course I don't. I'll take those. Head on back to this car. And we'll continue setting things up. I think that's the only major difference that happened in the copper, was that reduction in the number of required jaw crushers on the line. Everything else seems okay for processing 2 yellow belts. Anyway, we are converting titanium ore in this phase. This ore will come in on this line. I will have an output line here. It will split off and I am looking for the grade 2 titanium, because the grade 2 titanium needs to be processed next. The grade 2 titanium gets processed in the jaw crushers, 5 of them. And this gets converted into grade 1, and it produces stone in the process, so there needs to be another thingy for stone that will be filtered to the right. So that is the grade 1. This is not cyclical, so this is not a geometric series, fortunately. Next is the processing of the grade 1 in screeners again. 2 screeners this time. Only 2. And this time we are making grade 3 from 1. These make rejects. Titanium rejects right there. That get processed, I believe, in the ball mills. No, not the ball mills. They get processed in secondary crushers. These will give some gravel. So I need to remove said gravel. I always forget what pane has gravel. Gravel! It is under coal processing. This is also not cyclical because this gives grade 3 and not grade 1. So this is another circumstance of a not geometric series. May as well put down my inserters. Thus far, that's everything hooked up properly. Next is the ball mills. These make grade 4 from grade 3. Always making grade 4s. And only making grade 4s from 3s. And then it all ends with a singular advanced foundry. I may as well make this go out like so. And this advanced foundry will be making titanium plates out of grade 4. It's up to 1.6 per second and produces 8.51 per second out. Needs a hot air input. And it will have an even distribution on the output. And it makes 3 something per second out of that yellow belt in. So that's that. I am officially now going to take my break. I have a bit more work to do here. I need to set up burners for the gravel and stone. Alternatively, I can just route into here on this burner line to take care of gravel and stone. I can just do that. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Merge it, run it up to this line, because this line can fully take care of that, rather than adding more burners. And then I have to run the acetylene and the hot air. But first, it's time to take a break. I shall be back shortly. I have returned from my break as I reposition all the things. So, I need to do a bit of belt work. I need to merge these two and bring them here on this line. Boom. Die. Now there will be another belt that will be going outwards to the bus. That belt, of course, being the actual plates themselves. And I will note that I do have one other thing that I have planned for the day. Oh. There. That will do it. I have one other thing that I have planned that I wanted to do. That being that I wanted to switch over my production of refined syngas to be based off of coalbed gas, because as pointed out by Pyanodon, coalbed gas is basically free. And it is basically free. You feed in oxygen and pressured water in a closed-loop water system. So ultimately you are what you're actually converting is oxygen to coalbed gas in that process, plus the power required to run the machines and to do the oxygen, which the oxygen, you just split water in the first place, and water is infinite. So coalbed gas is basically an infinite resource that is free for the most part, And you can convert coalbed gas into syngas. So this is the process available now for the coalbed gas. However, there is one that needs filtration media to get more of it, I assume. That is faster and more. So yeah, faster and more of it. And then this one adds in drill heads for even more of it, twice as much. Interesting. But this initial recipe, pressured water 2500 into 2500, that can go back into pressured water, just add power to pumps, pressure pumps, and that's a closed loop. Oxygen is the only thing in. To get 150 coalbed per 15 seconds, that's 10 per machine. 50 per second results in refined syngas by adding hot air. Stupid flies in my way. Buzzing around me, distracting me, and the cat. Get away. Landed on my hand. So, this filtration media to make refined syngas, this makes 75 per second for one machine. And I will note that I am currently making, out of the whole line of filters doing refined syngas, from syngas, plus activated carbon directly, yeah, that line is making 78.75 per second of refined syngas right now through the filters. It consumes 3.38 activated carbon units per second and 112.5 units of syngas per second. This makes 75 units of syngas, refined syngas per second, for 50 coalbed gas per second, and some hot air and a quarter of a filtration media per second, which is 0.15 activated carbon. So you're going from 3.38 activated carbon per second to 0.15. You drop by from 8.75 to 5. So 3.75 difference in refined syngas. Lower. If you do hydrogen powered, convert all the oxygen to more. Yeah. Yeah, you'll always have oxygen from your splitting, from your electrolysis as well. Oh, and then yeah, there is this hydrogen process, but this one takes activated carbon in, which is, and same with the CO2, which is not as convenient. The filtration media sort of is what makes this process, what makes it wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. CO2 convert logs to organic matter, and then do the organic matter to CO2, because that is, you get a ton of organic matter out of logs rather than out of wood. That's how I'm making my CO2 anyway. So yeah, that's a process that I want to do once this is fully set up. So, what do we have as part of this setup? What is needed? What is needed is hot air and acetylene and a whole heck of a lot of belt. So off we go. Where am I going to run the acetylene? I may as well do the acetylene first to get things running. I will note that I do not I probably do not have enough acetylene. Now, this uses a lot less acetylene per mining operation than lead. I have the equivalent of 30 mining joules, 60 per second. I do actually have enough acetylene because I am backed up on lead, so this will operate at full capacity. So that's good news. Don't have to go adding to that. I will eventually have to add to that, but not right now. Oh boy. Time for more! More land filling across the universe. Where am I going to bring this? Start bringing this over. Below here. Ideally. Let's do it here. Let's not do it here. Let's go a little bit further. I just need to remember that this is my acetylene pipe. Land filling. Note how slow the car is despite being on yellow belt, going with the belt and not against the belt. That is the effect of the slowdown of the colored patches of this volcanic zone. It is a massive, massive slowdown. It is the equivalent slowdown of trying to go through the shallow water. This is my molybdenum processing? Yeah. Power for the coal gas? Yeah, it's a decent bit of power, but at least power is one thing I have zero concerns about for the moment. Yeah, so what it really, I think, ultimately comes down to is, are you willing to spend the syngas and activated carbon? Just, you have to compare how much joules of power you lose out on versus the other process. So this coalbed gas may consume more raw power, but what power potential are you losing out of consuming syngas into refined syngas with the activated carbon? Because I'm willing to bet that quite possibly it is more joule for joule more efficient to do the coalbed gas. Just like acetylene, joule for joule is more efficient to do via Tholins. Way more efficient to do via Tholins. Yeah, it's lots of coke to feed the activated carbon, which is the issue. So I'm willing to bet that the amount of energy that is consumed through the coalbed gas process is incredibly low compared to the amount of coke that gets consumed in the other process, let alone the syngas, which also has value as power. Here we go, there's the acetylene. Now, is this in radar range? It is. So immediately we start seeing acetylene flow, and it looks like it is feeding. It is enough to feed all of it. So I should expect to see that there will be a full throughput single line in the end once everything sort of catches up, ideally. Yeah, here we go. Once this backfills on the couple of lanes, now we're seeing, hey, there it is. There's that full throughput yellow out of a prime number in. This is what makes this such a good system. Of course, I do need to power this whole thing. Where's my car? Down there. Is that my car? I think so. Yes. And then I need to bring in hot air. Fortunately enough, hot air is already brought up. So if I go to about where I brought in my acetylene, I can basically just bring in the hot air right next to it. Let's align it, just make sure that everything looks decent. And now I am going against the grain on these belts, so it would be faster to not ride the belt. Although I then risk running into rocks. You know, there's no crash sound effect on the niobium pipe to grounds, underground pipes. There's no crashing sound effect that I've noticed when you run the car into it. At least I haven't noticed one, anyway. Yeah, there's no sound effect plays. Do not need to run the hot air all the way up here. Hot air, actually, only needs to be run to there. Alright. Power time. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. This is actually a very small setup compared to a lot of the other processes. That sucks. Have to have two. Alright, let's watch it flow. I don't believe I'm gonna run into any issues on lane limitations, let alone belts. There goes that, there goes rejects into these, additive. They're getting turned into grade 4s. Then you have to wait for 28 grade 4s to accumulate before it starts the first process, and then it ends up making 149 plates. Oh boy. Sure, 28 G4 into 149 plate. I do not have enough belt. I should have grabbed more belt while I was out. Make me belt. All of the belt. Should have loaded up on it, but I didn't. I just want to see the first plates being crafted. Also, watch as this starts burning things. It's crafting! There it goes. There it goes. Beautiful, beautiful titanium plates. Now, where am I gonna run this lane of stuff? Over. May as well run it next to this, these other lines. Theoretically, there's no rock in my way if I do this. Theoretically. We shall see if I run into any rocks. I don't think I should. But I do know that I likely do not have even remotely close to enough belts to finish this lane. And that's it. Down I go. So now I have to go pick up additional yellow belt. That means going down to where I am currently making some rubber. Which is all the way down. All the way down here. Hello, belts. This is actually the more efficient process for the belts, so it's always good when using that one. Now I'll have to bring this line all the way to the bus and run it backwards, and then the existing lane has to be reversed for the whole distance. At least the whole distance in which I'm using titanium, which is the whole bus, basically, because it's being used for stainless steel. That's part of the reason why, actually, I am doing this more efficient titanium process now. It's because you need the titanium in the stainless steel process. Hello, kitty. What you doing down there? What you doing down there? Yeah, you're next to me now. He was under my desk. Whoops, that is not where I have my titanium. Yeah, you're gonna come up this way? Come on. Just watch your hip. There you go. Alright, you gonna go to your desk or onto the desk, or are you gonna stick around on my lap? That's the next question. That's the next question. There you go. Onto the desk. Yeah, because this is the titanium lane. What you doing? Okay, reversing things now. What? You actually wanna be on my lap? Alright, this'll be awkward. Yeah, come on, there you go. There you go. Have some lap time. Some more lap time today. Reverse. He's there, sorta. Yeah. He's here. Spending some time, the sick kitty. Oh, you don't? You're not staying? You're going? Alright. He left. Back onto the desk. Just wanna make sure that everything is aligned properly again. There we go. Finish off reversing this belt. He always looks disheveled. Unfortunately. And he's all matted up on his chest and stomach at the moment. And this is after having him shaved for the exact same issue. So, yeah, he's just getting old now, and he's sick and not wanting to groom fully. He'll occasionally pick at some knots and rip them out, which also isn't good. Ooh, this is gonna be interesting. And then the medication he's on, I think, is also contributing to that. It makes him sleepy. May cause sedation, it says on the bottle. That, I'm sure, is also contributing. But such things happen when the cats reach a certain age. Our guy here, he's over 10 years old at this point. We think. I think that's actually it. That's as far as I need to go. No need to split off. No need for those undergrounds either. Now that all this is done, all of this setup from the start of the base can go away. So, goodbye, titanium processing. I think I want to cut off the flow of ore to reduce how much will end up in my inventory in the end. So let's go all the way down here and cut the power. Yeah, that didn't cut anything else. No more purpose to have acetylene being routed out here, in this direction anyway. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that was the last thing from the initial starting area that was being mined. So now there is absolutely nothing left that is part of the starter area that has been tapped into, that is ores. So the tin is gone, the quartz is gone. I never actually tapped the borax in the starting area. The titanium is now gone. Coal was relocated long ago. Aluminium was relocated. Iron, lead. This is all that's left of the copper of the starter base. This one tile of 318 units. That is all that's left of the starter base is copper, and the stone that was down right in here. Yeah, that's completely gone. I fully mined that one out. So really, I'm tapping only into the oil that's here. That's like the only starting area resource. I didn't tap into these phosphate rocks because, as it just so happened, I had 5 phosphate rocks to tap into right here, right next to the starting location. So this is the extent of the starting resources. It included a couple of phosphate rocks, and this salt, I think, counts as part of the starting zone resources. This set of 5 is not part of that, nor is this salt. That's not part of it, but anyway. That, as they say, is that. Glorious. Absolutely glorious. All these bits and bobs of the titanium coming down, and all of the stuff going out here to be voided. Excellent. It's all in motion. Where is my car? I left it all the way back, didn't I? I left it all the way back here, or even further. All the way back where I brought the titanium in. Yeah, I left it right there. That's the car. Oh boy, well, I have a car right there. Take a car to get a car. So, coalbed gas. That is next. I will need 5 beautiful coalbed extractors and 1 gas refinery. So the coalbed extractors need Nexalit, which I have. I will need to pick up some glass and a whole bunch of stuff. Glass and duralumin. Lead and copper, although I think some of that's because of these. Oh, really? Lead, copper, Nexalit, okay. Copper. Lead. Car? Car. Off we go to grab some Nexalit. Nexalit is not on my bus yet, so that's yet another thing that needs to be added to the bus. There we go. Grain of something was in my coffee, apparently. I'm now done with my coffee. Ahem. I hate when I do that. One more kill to add to the list. Next slit is right up here. I should have a car that has some next slit in it as well. No, next slit is backwards. Back. Back and up. Back, back, back. It is before my refined syngas, even. Wait, where? Yes, here. Boink. Give me... Need 5 in total. Why so much normal... Oh, yeah. Circuits. Circuits are a thing. Circuits are right next to the stuff here. Before I really finish setting up my... I sort of want those FTS reactors. Before I finish setting up my circuit 2s, I'm going to have to scale up my circuit 1s a fair bit. Same thing when going and transitioning into the circuit 3s, because the circuit 3s are going to require circuit 2s. Alright, 1, 2, 3. I need more iron. 4, 5, and then I need a gas refinery. So I need to pick up steel and rocks. Steel and rocks, which is this line right here. Gas refinery. Oh, I went and I changed what that is. Okay. Up where I have my filtration media and refined syngas. Right here. I'm going to do a little bit of reworking. So, I'm actually able to make up to 3.75 per second on the activated carbon. Ideally, I would not want to use that much. I can use up to 1.5 to make 2.5 filtration media, which is fantastic. I need to do a bit of rerouting here. How do I want to do this exactly? So in terms of the amount of space that I need / want, one thing I can do is bring the gravel there and bring the sand, pure sand, in there. Oh, also I can do this and bring this down. And then I can bring the iron over that way. So what does this do? This allows me to have additional space here. Now, I will also note that this syngas line, not the refined syngas, but the syngas line, it continues outward from here on a nice line. So when I do want to change this. I do want to remove this and sort of move it down a little bit because it is straight up not needed. But I needed the extra space because I would like to make the refined syngas here, but the gas refinery is sorta huge. It's sort of 9 by 9. I think that's what it is. It's a 9 by 9. Building. And it's going to need coalbed gas, hot air, and then the refined syngas out. Ideally, this would be over here. I will kill all of this. In fact, I'm going to stick a box down and I'm going to start storing some things. Some things that I don't need to carry on me at this point in time. No, I didn't. Oh well. Yeah, I can get rid of that belt balance thingy. As for where I'm going to do the coalbed extractors, I have not a clue. Not a clue. So the coalbed extractors are smaller, but I'm also going to need 11 pressure pumps on top of everything else. So unfortunately, I think this is actually going to end up at the very tail end of my bus. Partly because it allows easier access to the water, although it's a closed loop, so never mind. Also just because I'm here, it is still relatively close by. I can throw more coalbed gas into the mix as required for anything else I may need it for. If I need additional refined syngas, for instance. And the oxygen is already run up here anyway, so... Or at least it's really, really close. The oxygen is right here. Right here, just fine. I will, of course, need to grab... Where are they? Here. These beautiful, beautiful beasts. And of course they need a gap. Of course they do. They need a gap of 2. They need a gap of 3. One, 2, 3. Wonderful. Now there's no solids involved in this entire process, so it's all about pipe work. Speaking of which, I also need my pressure pumps. These will operate on this side. Please tell me that it's back and front. Yes, it is. Excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Now, these are all close enough that regular pipe should be used and not undergrounds. Pipe to ground, I should say. Now, 5 of these need 833 1/3 of water in this system. So that's why I have 11 here to make sure that I have enough. A sufficient amount. Now, getting the water back into the system will be like so. That will feed water back into the system. And all of this should be connected. Yep. Then just add oxygen. Do any of these align? That would be ideal, but it doesn't look like it. How sad and unfortunate. There's oxygen. Just add water. An initial jolt. And power. Power it on, get in the pressured water, let it run for a little bit of time to make sure that all of the pressured water enters the system that's required. Let the coalbed gas actually back up. And once it's all filled with enough water that I can be confident that it won't suddenly stop working, then I can cut that water input and know that there is enough stuffs and things to keep it going. Alright. So there's coalbed gas. I guess I should have this on a spot on the bus, along with everything else. Even though I know I'm going to use all of it. I'm at the point where I'm using the buffer gaps of 2 already. I've got a lot of extra potential lanes by doing this. Although it makes this a little iffy if I start using these 2. So I guess I'll do this next one, which is a gap of 1 from the oxygen is how I should look at it, because the oxygen and the water sort of switch. So it's a gap of 1 from the oxygen. Where is my real car? That's the one. That's good enough to bring that down. Now I have to redo all of this. Time to break it. Breaking things. Do you remember what I said about still needing a syngas line? For the exception that I now do have the ability to use niobium pipes. So that helps. This no longer needs to be an activated carbon line. It can instead be a bit of filtration media. That's not going to work. I'll have another underground there. Okay. You. Big ol' machine. You are doing this process. Yeah, that's that. This will make 75 per second. Alright, coalbed. Coalbed, and then hot air. Yet more hot air. I might need more hot air sooner rather than later. And it's running. It operates. What the heck am I gonna do for 23 more minutes? Oops. Yeah, so I sort of did everything. I did all the things that I wanted to do. What's next? What can I do next? I guess I can finally start working on the to-do list towards Circuit 2's? Maybe? So I have more efficient titanium. I have more efficient chromium, which, actually, that reminds me, I wanted to look more closely at and see that, hey, we are fully backed up on the chromium plates, so I am now making more chromium plates than what I absolutely need for my current demands, which, you know, was the whole point. That was the whole point. There is something I do want to do, though. Again, sooner. On the sooner side of things, oh. I need more circuits. More circuits! I want to buffer my stainless steel, and I want to route my stainless steel, actually. I want to bring it to where it's going to be on the bus and then do the buffer for it. This will mean needing some of these. Oh, I don't need any of those. I don't need so much activated carbon. I'm making a lot of filtration media, which is actually a lot better. Now, note, I spent a lot of time avoiding the whole activated carbon and filtration media stuff, and thinking that it would be just this ginormous demand on my uh, on my coke stuff. Turns out it's not so bad with the filtration media. What are you doing, kitty? You are right directly in front of the monitor. You are standing, blocking absolutely everything. Here, you want people to see you again? Yeah, you want people to see you again? 'Cause I'll show you off again. Yeah. There you are. Yeah, get. You're gonna learn that every time you go in front of the monitor, you're gonna get picked up. That is going to be a thing. Eventually, you're not going to want to be picked up anymore, and you'll stop. You will stop doing it. Hopefully. That's the plan. You've got a nice little warm spot. You have a heat pad there that I need to remember to keep turning back on every couple of hours. No, no, no. Stop. I know you're hungry. And I know you want lunch, but it's not that time yet. You've still got 19 minutes. Yeah, you're looking at me. I know what you want. Yeah, it's better to leave. Complain to someone else, please, for a little bit. If you want food. Well, it's not an if. It's not an if you want food. I know you want food. This is not the place. Ew. Ew. Better. But not the best. There we go. Really? Up. Sure, why not? Just waste even more. By the way, where are all my rocks? There's some. In fact, you know what? I'm going to be getting more rocks, stone, as I run this line, because it's going to put a pull on iron ore to make more stainless steel. And that's going to be what drives the stone that would make the stuff and things. Stuff and things, yes. Alright, so what lane is this gonna be? That's the next question. That is there. I think that's right. I think that is the first lane. Is the zinc the nickel? The nickel is the first. Okay. Wait, what? No, the nickel is the fourth. Oh boy. That's the issue. So what lane am I on this segment? I am pretty sure that... I actually have to look. I have to go down there. Where is a car? I need a vehicle. I need a vehicle. You there are my primary vehicle. Off I go. So I need to look at how I'm routing things up near this salt mine patch. I knew ahead of time that this would be an issue with this salt patch when I chose to tap it. But I decided I'm going to do it anyway. Alright, so you are the second lane, technically. You are the second lane. And if I do a third lane, I had decided that... So this will be my stainless steel, by the way. This is officially my stainless steel line. I have to start routing things around like this. So then the fourth lane will do this. So that will be the fourth lane. Now the first lane, if it ever comes down here, is going to continue just like the molybdenum plates. And it will go around like so. Make use of the 2-tile gap that I keep between most of the... well, all of the other belts on the bus. The belt sections. So now I just have to run this line all the way down, back to the start of the bus, and I can start to think about... I can connect up the stainless steel, add my buffer chest, though I guess technically the belt itself will act as a bit of a buffer. So here we are. Hello, stainless steel. I will probably not run this in the other direction, but I will make a gap of 2 just in case. And I will go... Where do I... Where am I buffering lead? Right there. Okay. Lead is right here at the start. There we go. there is the chest that will be the buffer on the stainless steel. Joy! Bliss. Everything is awesome now. For the moment. So, we have stainless steel. We have the most efficient, viable processes for refining and processing ore into plates. All the ore into plates. All of it. All of the ore into plates. About the only thing that we're not currently mining that we'll have to start mining is rare earth bolides. That is the next chain to get into what will also be needing silicon in the processing as part of Circuit 2's stuff and things. Now, what I want to actually look up is printed, circuit substrate. Really? PCB. Ew. Of course. So, what is it really used for? And FNEI, I think, also. They search by the actual recipe name as it's defined under recipe name, and not the localization name that you see here. So it doesn't search for printed circuit substrate 2. It's not searching for that. It's searching the actual name of the recipe's ID value. And in this case, for the printed circuit substrates, these are coded as PCB 1, 2, 3, etc., or some variation of that. So when you search printed circuit substrate, you don't get that pulled up because it doesn't see, there is no recipe with that name. This recipe is PCB 2 or whatever, or MK2 or whatever it actually ends up being, but it involves PCB as part of its name. Phenolic board, I need bakelite. I can make this. I can start making phenolics, etching, hydrogen peroxide, nickel, anthraquinone. I have LN2. Yay. I can do printed circuit substrate 2 at this point. Technically, I can do just about everything at this point, but the things like the inductor 2 in particular is going to require... See, I've got melamine resin, I've got inductor 1s, I can scale up the inductor 1s, and I've got the ability to make tinned cable. It's the ferrite, which is needed for inductor 2s, that will be the problem because it requires iron oxide. And I need a process that gives me iron oxide consistently. Normally, I think what you're supposed to go the route of is the nitrobenzene. There are other options, such as coarse fraction, which you can get from sand extractors. This is a very, very efficient process of converting iron into coarse fraction that you can then convert into stone, gravel, and iron oxide in a classifier. I don't know if this is a guaranteed iron oxide. Allow me to make a classifier. So I guess I'll spend the last 6 minutes here sort of going over various items that I know I'll need as part of the remainder of the Circuit 2 chain, because what did I actually get done? Like, what is actually done right now? This... it's that recipe, and yes, it is a guaranteed coarse fraction, uh, of, uh, of iron oxide, so it is guaranteed iron oxide. I have solder. This is done. How does one mark is complete again? Just do the check mark next to it. Solder is done. Lead processing chain for silver. Yeah, that's done. Cumene from benzene and propene. Yeah, that's done. Benzene from that. Yeah, that's done. Fiberboard from sodium sulfate. I did a different process that allows me to get more fiberboard. I don't think I've set that up. This is fiberboard, yes? I believe so. So I'm not doing it from the sodium sulfate at the moment. That is a different process. I was going to do this because it doesn't give any of this other stuff, but I actually want this organic solvent, which is why I've chosen not to do that. But I'll mark it done anyway, because I did expand this. Etching solution! And more phosphoric acid per second. I don't know if I'll be able to really get around to that. But this is next. Move to top. And that's going to involve hydrogen peroxide. And lard. Hydrogen peroxide and lard. Lard I can do by processing more of the zippier stuff in particular, I think. But anyway, what's good to know is that this will always give you iron oxide, although 20 per second of coarse fraction. Sand extractor. Right there, I need to pick up some niobium and chromium. Well, here's chromium. Is my niobium all the way up here? I don't know what line it is. What line is it? Does not look like my niobium's brought all the way up here. Which is a shame. Niobium is right here. So, sand extractor. How many of you would feed? I'll go back up to where I have that other machine so I can pick them both up when I end things off in another minute. So, this can make coarse fraction directly. Oh gosh, okay. So to do 20 per second would mean 14 sand extractors, and I think an automated factory makes exactly 4 per second. No, it makes 6. So 1 or 2 iron plates per second into 20 coarse fraction per second into 2 per second of iron oxide. I think you can get some coarse fraction out of the stone as well. What? You can get it out of... Yes, making this tar here. So you can loop back the stone that you get into more coarse fraction. But anyway, regardless, with that, what got done today at the end of the week? Well, today was all about setting up a more efficient chromium and titanium process. Finishing up the chromium process, I went over what the actual math is on the chromium for the geometric series that are involved in the chromium. So as it turns out, oh wow, there is electricity issues. Why? Oh, I know why. It's there is not enough coke being fed into this. Yes. I need to put a splitter there. But anyway, more chromium. As it turns out, the solution to the sum of how much actual grade 1 enters into this system is 3 1/3. 3.3 repeating is how much grade 3 actually enters into the system in sum total, although that's technically not true. It's asymptotic, so it will never actually reach exactly 3 1/3, but for all intents and purposes, it is 3 1/3. Half of that goes into the next geometric series, and in the end, we end up with 5.5 repeating plates for 15 per second of ore in. So 15 per second of ore in gives 5.55 repeating units per second of chromium out. And then I set up, once finishing setting that up, I set up some titanium up here. Beautiful titanium processing, which is now being limited by my acetylene production, because of course it is. Because I don't have enough to feed both this and my lead all the way down here. And I'm sure that I just had made more lead, and that's why it's pulling there, because I know I have enough acetylene to feed this, but not the lead fully. So anyway, I then started processing all of this. You can sort of see at least the first item in each line here: a screener, crusher, screener, secondary crusher, ball mill, and then advanced foundry, giving me lots more titanium than what I was making before out of a single throughput yellow belt. Single 15 per second yellow belt, if I had enough acetylene to feed it. So that's primarily what got done, and then I started making some coalbed gas up here to feed into the production of refined syngas without the need of feeding syngas. So now I can use as much refined syngas as I want without worrying about not having enough syngas to back up that production. Do have to worry about the hot air though. But I do have enough coalbed gas being made in a closed loop of water and 100 and something oxygen per second. So, at the low cost of oxygen and power. Speaking of power, that is going up over 200 per second, isn't it? Yeah, 230 per second. Thank you so much to my wonderful things. Requiring so much power. Anyway, I just need to route a little bit more of my coke in. Speaking of which, I need more coke. But anyway, with that, I would like to thank you all again for watching. This has been Otaku Showboat. I will be back on Sunday with more of this Pyanodon's playthrough as I now work very directly towards getting the Circuit 2s, because now all of the base products are being produced. All of the base materials exist for me to now start making all of the various petrochemicals that are required for this, slash regular chemicals that are required for this. Things like the etching solution, and the hydrogen peroxide for the etching solution, as well as I can start working towards the next new thing that will be required, which will be the rare earth bolide processing to get rare earth materials, as part of the various processing into, gosh, it's needed for the heavy N, uh, the heavy N silicon wafers, whatever. There's a light and there's a heavy on the silicon wafers, so it's like, oh, great. Various different processing of silicon that we'll need to be doing as well. So, anyway, I will be back Sunday, and I hope to see you all then.